Welcome back to our podcast. This is episode 26. We might just rename this podcast. This is GK Tech Pros podcast right now. We're just going to shoot the shit today. That's what we're doing. And by the way, Brandon, immediately I'm going to throw a curveball. And I've been planning this all day because I knew you're going to be like, man, I really wish we kind of were more genuine and maybe less prepared, but also prepared for this thing.
I did say that.
You did say that. And the whole time in my head, I'm just like, yep.
That's your plan. Your plan is
my master plan is at work. So I wanted to start off the show with throwing some stuff at you and just getting a reaction out of you. And this is on topic for the most part, or at least it is for us because it's technology related, it's phone related. I wanted to throw out some phone specifications at you.
All right.
Okay.
I'm ready.
So I'm going to throw 3 different phones at you, but I'm not going to tell you what the phones are until later. I'm just going to throw the specs out at you. This first phone should be fairly familiar to you. So specs on it, it's a 6.6-inch screen. The resolution on it is 2340 by 1080, so it's a 1080p screen. It's a 120 hertz refresh rate. Peak brightness is 1750 nits. The processor is a Snapdragon 8 Generation 2. Comes with 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage. That's not expandable. The battery capacity is 4,700 milliamps. It's got a triple camera setup, including a 50 megapixel main camera, plus a 10 megapixel telephoto. It's got a 12 megapixel ultra wide. Let's see what else, if there's anything important on this.
Is this a say when, or am I waiting?
If you know what it is, shout it out.
It's the 23 Plus.
That is correct.
The Galaxy 23 Plus.
That is the 23 Plus. What if I went onto Samsung.com? What would it cost me to buy one outright?
MSRP.
What's the MSRP on it?
Normal price is $999.
$999. So, there are ways to get it cheaper if I want to go through a carrier.
Usually on box sales, there's usually trade-in deals. Samsung runs deals.
Yeah, but if I wanted to just plain own it without going through a carrier, without trading in anything, it'd be $999.
Yeah, that's the price.
Okay. So phone 2, 6.8-inch screen. It is a 2480 by 1116 pixels, so that's, I guess, 1.5K. 120 hertz, 1600 nit screen, so it's not quite as bright as the Samsung, but it's got a higher resolution. This has a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processor, so it's newer.
Yeah.
Also comes with 8 gigs, but there is a 16 gig variant as well. The battery on this is 6,500 milliamps.
So I know the phone. I think, 8 and 16 gigs, you said?
There's 2 variants of it. There's an 8 and a 16.
Well, you already know it's not an American phone because what is the letter acronym? Whatever they're called has determined that it has to be 5,000 milliamp max, I think, in America, I believe, is
maybe
the max a phone can be here, which means this has got to be a banned phone probably in America. It's probably it's probably that Red Magic or the.
You're correct. It is the Red Magic.
Yeah.
Pro. And so the Red Magic is it's a gaming phone. It's Red Magic is it's a Nubia phone. Nubia is a ZTE phone. ZTE is banned in the United States.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Um, However, you can get a Red Magic phone here in the States.
You can use it here. You can't buy it here, or how does that work?
You can buy it here in the
What
States. You can order one here.
what is banned then?
So, so it's the processor. So
The
the
Qualcomm
United,
processor?
so that yes.
Oh,
So the United States, um, for security reasons, wants to make sure that your processor is not secure and that they can hack into it and see what you're
that,
doing.
that sounds right. I'm not surprised.
So the reason why ZTE and Huawei have been banned is because they use processors in their phones that the government can't monitor and see what they're doing.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, that's off topic. But so the Red Magic 9, um, massive battery, 6,500 milliamp battery. So
Yeah, that's huge.
um, that is massive, and I
Which
don't
is
know what
also
the
probably banned. Like I said, I think that's not.
is it. Is
I think,
it that it's banned, or is it that you can't take it on a plane? Is it like against the
oh,
FAA?
it's some three-letter agency like that. I think that might be
Okay,
right.
okay. Another couple of key differences. So the Red Magic 9 just came out. So take this with a big grain of salt because the S23 Plus came out almost a year ago, 11 months ago. The Red Magic 9 Pro came out last month.
Hmm.
So it's not a completely fair assessment, but um, the Red Magic comes with the new generation processor in it. It also supports 80-watt fast charging versus Samsung's,
Wow,
it's
it's like a
45
OnePlus
watt,
charger, huh?
kind of. So the Red Magic doesn't have um, wireless charging, but it's got a three camera setup, including a 50 megapixel main camera. Um, it also has a underscreen forward camera um, that you can only see if you look really, really hard at the screen.
Hmm.
Um, so it's boggling to me that larger companies like a OnePlus, like a
Hmm.
Samsung, like a Google, like an Apple, Apple tries to trick its customers, by giving us the dynamic island. Um, but all these other companies are still doing hole punch cameras or teardrop cameras.
Hmm.
Red Magic here for a couple generations now are hiding their forward-facing camera underneath the screen, and so
Yeah,
it's a
I love it. Aside
it's
from the pop-up camera, which is my favorite,
right,
I like having the whole screen. So,
right. It's way more immersive, and so I would imagine that that was a priority for Red Magic. It's a gaming phone. This is not. This is a niche phone. It's not meant for the
yeah.
mass market. But if you're creating a gaming phone and you want that immersive experience, the best way to do that is getting rid of that camera. However other companies are doing the camera,
Hmm.
and then of course add a 6,500 milliamp battery. Um, and then they also added liquid cooling, or not liquid cooling, active cooling. So they
Hmm.
have a fan. This is not. I don't believe the first time that they've had active cooling in a phone for them. I know other phones have also used active cooling. This one has. Um, it's got a little fan on the back of it, and you can see it spin. It's got the RGB lighting, and you can watch it spin if it's trying to cool down the phone. Um, but before we get into the cooling aspect, I wanted to throw out the curveball phone at you.
Okay.
So Phone 3 um, is launched in China. It's going to launch in North America at the end of this month on the 24th, I believe. But let me get the specs on it. So 6.78-inch screen. It's a 1.5K resolution. Um, so better resolution than the Samsung. 120 hertz refresh rate. 1600 nits brightness, just like the Red Magic. This has the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chip, so it's last year's flagship chip. Um, two RAM variants, a 12 gig and a 16 gig, which is higher than the Samsung. 100-watt fast charging capable versus the 45 that you get with the
Holy
Samsung.
moly.
Yep. Three camera setup on the back, including a 50 megapixel Sony lens. Let's see if there's anything else. No wireless charging. Does have a large battery, a 5400 milliamp hour battery. And like I said, that's with the 100-watt fast charging.
What was it? The battery?
Any a 5400.
Oh,
So the Samsung, I think I said, is 4500.
hmm.
So this
47.
one's 4700. Okay. So 5400 milliamp hour battery. Um, so compared to the Samsung, this phone has a larger battery. It has a higher resolution screen. It has the same processor. Um, more than double the charge wattage. Does not have wireless charging like the Samsung does. Um, but really, that's the only thing that's worse versus the Samsung. Everything else about this phone is better.
Hmm.
Any idea what this phone is?
Wow, my first guess is OnePlus. Is it a
It
OnePlus
is
phone?
made by OnePlus, but it's not their flagship.
Not the flagship.
It's not the flagship. This is the OnePlus 12R.
Hmm.
And the price
Is
on
that a
it
new
is
series?
room.
R? Is this a new series?
So I believe they had an 11R, but that wasn't launched in North America.
Oh, okay. And this one is
So
going to
this
be launched
is
here.
so this is going to be launched here in North
Huh.
America. So they're
When?
launching the 12 and the 12R on
Okay.
January 24th here in
Okay.
America,
All right.
in North America. So the 12 has a slightly larger battery. It also comes with wireless charging. But what I want to talk to you about is the price of the 12R. So it hasn't been officially launched with the pricing yet here, but in China, you can get it for as low as this is in Chinese yen, I believe, for 25.99 Chinese yen, which equates to a just under $400 US. Though I've also read that this might launch at 499
Hmm.
US. So sub $500, and it's basically last year's flagship.
Well, yeah, I would say so. That's fair to say it's last year's flagship because I was going to say 23 came out, you know, it was early last year. So
hmm
if I was going to put my Samsung hat on, I would say, what are you really comparing this phone to?
So, well, it's hard to compare this phone to anything other than the iPhone SE. So you and I have been um, pretty critical of Apple. However, you and I have on several occasions been very pro iPhone SE as being like the
The
best
sleeper. Yeah.
the best sleeper phone, the best value phone that you can get. It's not a budget phone. It's definitely a mid-tier phone. But what set it apart from all the other mid-tier phones, the $300 to $500 phones, or four to $600 phones, is that the SE uses a flagship processor. And so, uh, versus other phones in this kind of price range, I'm thinking, the Samsung A series, the OnePlus Nord series, um, the budget Motorola's out there. Um, they all use mid-grade processors in their
Right.
devices,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't age well. You and I, uh, you still rock your OnePlus 7 Plus, right?
Yeah, I love that phone.
Okay, so that phone came out in 2019. It's still, if you do benchmarks on it, it still outperforms mid-tier phones that have come out in 2023.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean,
and
my work phone, the S22 Ultra, has half the
mm,
storage. Yeah,
yeah.
and I like that phone otherwise, but yeah.
Mm. Um, but at least the S22 came out with a kind of decent processor. That's the Gen 1, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. But, it was still a flagship type thing. But, you and I have a 4-year-old phone in our OnePlus, sevens, that still
Irrelevant.
wipe to, right. If you compare them to flagships of 2023 or 2024 now, obviously the OnePlus is going to be slower and it's going to chew through battery a lot more than an S23 is going to. However, if you compare it to an A series Samsung, it's still faster than an A series Samsung, a brand new one.
Right.
Um, which is why we like the iPhone SE so much. Is yeah, it looks old because externally it looks like a phone that came out in 2014,
Mm-hmm.
and probably earlier than that. Really, I mean, I mean that style of phone came out,
iPhone
earlier
8.
than that. But it's rocking the internals of an iPhone 13 Pro Max, which is a 2-year-old flagship at this point. I'm sure the SE is probably going to get another refresh this year because I
If they
think they
stay
refresh it every
consistent,
two
they seem
years.
to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like the
So,
FE.
but I mean, the SE, if you're looking to stay in the Apple ecosystem and you want a budget Apple, um, at $429, the SE is a really good option. If you're just looking to go with a new Apple iPhone, um, because it, it's gonna stay snappy, it's gonna stay fast, and it's gonna stay supported for a long time. And that's a big knock against budget and mid-tier Android devices, except for this OnePlus 12R,
Mm.
which again is essentially a OnePlus 11. Like it's almost a rebranded OnePlus 11 in a lot of ways. It's basically last year's flagship, but it's in that mid-tier price.
Mm.
But a big difference between the OnePlus 12R and what OnePlus is doing with it versus what Apple's doing with it, which Apple's taking like a 2024 Corvette motor and putting it into like a 1996 Silverado and calling it brand new. Um, and OnePlus is like, no, we're going to take last year's awesome processor, and the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processor is a very good processor. Um, but they're actually like, no, we're going to actually make this phone look good, and so they're putting on a 1.5K screen. It's going to have a better resolution than what you're typically getting. It's still going to get the 120 hertz refresh rate. Like the only sacrifice that really you're getting with this device is the fact that it doesn't come with wireless charging, but it does come with 100-watt charging, which means you're going from 0 to 80% in like 12 minutes or something like that.
Plug it in and unplug it, and you're charged.
Yeah, right. Like
Basically wireless. I mean, wired
pretty
for a
much,
second.
right? Right now, I mean, really, like plug it in, go to the bathroom, right? Come back now. And no one is going to want to admit that they sit down on the toilet while they're on their phone. But I'm saying that's not sanitary. Like,
You just do it the right way, you'll be good.
yeah, right. Just do it the right way, and you're fine. But just yeah. I mean, you could charge your phone up during a dump if you wanted to, from 0 to 100%.
That's a long dump you're
Uh,
taking, John. I don't know. 12 minutes.
no, not with. look, look. So look, you gotta enjoy the alone time.
Okay, yeah.
I'm a
Yeah,
father.
I can
I'm a
relate.
father of
We both got
two.
two kids.
Yeah, as fathers of two kids.
Yeah, I
Uh,
understand.
yeah. So sometimes you need a breather,
I'm sure
and
we'll let other TikTokers and content creators go off with that. The
sure,
the alone
yeah,
time jokes in the
the
bath.
alone time chat. That's fine. Um. So anyway, I wanted to throw that curveball at you to see what your thoughts were on it last year's flagship device for a sub 500 price point.
Yeah, I mean that's I like
Pretty
that price
compelling.
range. Do have to again put my Samsung hat on and bring up throw my curveball in there. What is your thoughts on the FE if you have them? I know that they came out Samsung came out recently with their every 2 year phone, the 23 FE.
I don't know anything about the
Okay.
23 FE,
Well,
so
I'll
you'll
tell
have
you
to
a
tell
little
me about
bit.
it.
It comes with the Gen 1 Snapdragon 8 processor, so the same as the 20 S22. And this phone
Okay.
comes out similar to the SE, the iPhone SE, every 2 years, roughly. The last
Okay.
time they made one was the S21 FE. And if you don't have thoughts on it, what I will say is that the one thing I would say that would set it apart in a bad way from the uh, the OnePlus 12R you said, it
Hmm.
it it does not. Well, I mean, this is I guess an opinion. It doesn't look nice. It doesn't look like. Well, at least let's put it this way. Let make an objective statement. It doesn't look like the 23 flagship. It looks different. It doesn't. I don't know if it. I'm trying to think back. I don't know if it looks like an older phone. Like the iPhone 8, that
Well,
and the
now I'm
SE.
compelled. Now I'm going to look at it. Now that you tell me
Yeah,
that Samsung came out with this
there you
ugly
go.
FE phone.
Well, I mean, that's not what I say, on the job. I don't call it ugly. So, it's, I mean, it's not necessarily ugly either. In fact, I hear a lot of people say they like it better, but it's certainly, to me, it looks like it has a little more plastic in the frame than the flagship S23. But it's a budget phone, but it's mid tier. It's not. I would say it's better than A series, and it's priced a little higher than you can pick it up for $599
Yeah.
full price. They did a crazy sale, which I think they kind of regretted. Samsung, they made it at launch. It was $399. It was $200 off, and they sold out. It was crazy. It is
So
everyone wanted this phone.
399 you said? Okay.
Yeah, $200 off, and everyone wanted this phone. I still have people whining, when I'm on the job that the sale's gone and they wish they would have bought it, and it's gone. The phone's gone anyways. You can't. It's not in any store. So because everyone wanted it. So
I'm
it's
looking at it on bestbuy.com right now, and yeah,
yeah.
I can't.
Can't
Doesn't
pick it
look
up.
like I can buy it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It was
so
too successful.
yeah. So I do have thoughts. Um, at five. So you said the Gen 1 chip, so that's at
Yeah.
this point 2 years old.
Kinda. I mean, we don't
Because
see a bunch other than the band phone. We don't have a Gen 3 phone that's
well,
welcome at least.
so at the end of this month, OnePlus is launching the Gen 3 and the 12 and the 12R.
That's what you say, but you say it has a 5400 battery. I want to see it actually launch in the States with a 5400 milliamp battery. I thought that was impossible. We'll see though.
We'll see. But well, I mean, it's still coming with that
Yeah,
chip,
it's
and
it's
and I
I
would imagine that Samsung and you don't have to say anything because things,
yeah.
but Samsung historically has launched their
Yeah.
new devices in February,
I
and
alluded
so
to the
we
fact that they're
are
pretty consistent, and so
they're
it's basically 2 years old. But at the time of launch, you kind of called it a year old of the
okay,
S23
right.
FE. 'Cause I remember
So
looking up.
so so 20, I'll call it 2022's flagship
Right.
processor.
It's exactly that. Yeah. Same
So
specs as the
2022's
22.
flagship processor in a phone that is plasticky. So kind of, I think at that, I can understand why it sold out at
Yeah,
399,
390. Yeah, that was a crazy deal.
right? Because I'm looking, because if you're like, so let's say it's February 1st and I'm in the market for a phone, right? And I have a
Right.
couple options, right? I have the Red Magic phone that I could get. I have an iPhone SE that I could get, a 12R that I could get, the S23 that I could get, and my budget is around that $500 mark, let's say, and I'm looking at 599
Yeah.
for the FE,
Right.
with the Gen 1 chip and probably smaller battery.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it probably didn't age very well. When it launched at 400, the sale
mhm,
price, it was like you said, it sold out, and you could see why.
right.
But
So, right, yeah, at the time, right, if you're like, well, iPhone SE versus Samsung S23 FE,
mm,
$400 versus $430,
and way under all the flagships, right?
right?
Under half the
Way, yeah,
price of a lot of
right,
flagships.
right. But you're still getting the heart of a flagship at some point,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
So these are processors that are going to age a lot better than your A
Then
series
A
processor is
series,
going
yeah,
to, right? That's really compelling.
or a Nord or
Um,
whatever,
yeah, versus the Nord or
or any
you
Pixel.
know, yeah, Pixel and
Sorry, I
their
had to bring
tensors.
that in.
Sorry, wait, I didn't mean
Every
this
podcast.
conversation. Yeah, every podcast.
We hate on Pixels.
Today's GK Tech Pro podcast brought to you by Anti Google.
Well, I
I
like Google, so don't say that. But Pixel, anti-Pixel. I mean, I love Google technology, so
just want them to come out. I just want them to care more
here comes the rant.
about the Pixel.
I want them to care more about their hardware. Yeah, it would be nice.
Yeah, ah, man, like, I'm gonna throw Amazon under the bus real quick. This
Okay,
is a side
that's good.
rant that
Because
I'm
we don't
gonna
want to beat this
wrap up
dead
real
horse
quick.
of Google.
Yeah, we've gone, to the wood chipper with
Right.
Google, but
What's the Amazon thing?
Amazon. So, I've had a lot of Amazon technology products. I've had several Kindles. My kids have the kids like Fire Kindles. Our streaming devices around the house are, Fire Sticks. Um, but man, let me tell you, like, I'm beginning to have the same experience with Amazon devices as I've had in the past with Android devices outside of the Oneplus 7, and that it's like you get the new Fire Stick and it's fine for like a few months and then it goes to crap. And I feel like the software is getting worse every day. The kids, their Kindles are freezing all the time,
Hmm.
and it certainly feels like planned obsolescence. In that, they launch out, they're just like, oh, get the new Fire Stick 4K Max, and I'm like, oh, that seems like a cool thing, but my Fire Stick already does 4K streaming, and then it's just like, buffering, and and the kids, they have their Kindles, and it's, but every 2 years, Amazon launches the new kids Kindle Fire, the Pro version, because when I think of kid technology, I want a professional version of it. And
Might need to rebrand.
uh, but
You
the thing is like, my kid's playing Minecraft on her Kindle, and all of a sudden it starts freezing and glitching, and
Minecraft. Yeah.
she's a 7-year old and screaming at me because her Kindle's freezing, And I'm just like, oh, Amazon, but Amazon is promoting, get the new Pro version because this one will surely run Minecraft, and you don't want that other piece of crap that you bought last year. This one's new.
Yep.
This is the same kind of thing I got from Android phones like a decade ago. Getting
Yeah.
like the S23 or the Motorola phone at the time. I've had a lot of Android phones
You
that I
like the
just
S23?
loved.
Yeah.
So I do like the S23.
Yeah.
Um, and I've had it for nearly a year, and I haven't wanted to throw it through a door yet or a window. So good for it for not sucking. But like I mean, my first smartphone was an iPhone. I had iPhones for a while. I had an iPhone 3GS was the first one I had, and after that I had the iPhone 4. The iPhone 4 was not good, which is why I switched to Android. And
Your chagrin.
like every year I was getting a new Android, and
Yeah.
it was so bad. I actually on our family plan we had a third line on it that I was paying for. At the time, it was only like $10 a month to have this line that I wasn't using, except that I could use it for upgrades. So I could plan it out for every year. I would use an upgrade from one of the lines, so I could
Yeah.
get myself into a different phone. Because for one, I like new technology, but also my experience with Android devices were always the phone was great at first, and I love the customization. And I love that it's open source, and there's so many things that I can do with it. And then inevitably, no
Yeah.
matter who made the phone, I had the Samsung Charge, I had the Samsung S3 and S4, I had the Droid Razr and Droid Razr HD, a few others
Yeah.
sprinkled in there,
What?
and it was always a year into it, and I just wanted to throw
Yeah.
the thing through a window.
Yep. What I would say is the thing that we hate the most here on this podcast is planned obsolescence. I would say that's kind of our
Right.
is the most I yeah, you thought I was gonna say Pixel thing we hate most, but
Yeah,
but
it's not Pixel.
planned
The
obsolescence.
difference between planned obsolescence is and Pixel is just ineptitude at at making devices. Actually, our problem with Pixel is that they keep insisting on surrounding the best version of Android with absolute garbage hardware.
Yep. Yeah.
That's the problem. Is um, the tensor chips are always lackluster when you compare them in all the benchmarks. When you compare them to the whatever latest Snapdragon is coming out with, it always lags behind it. Um, the rest of the device is designed weird.
Yeah.
They've had so many
And I always compare.
warranty issues, and
Oh yeah, that's true too.
yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say I always compare the tensor chips to because that's their in-house. That's what they make. Google makes that chip, and I always
yeah,
compare it to the A series phones. And I always say, hey, you want a subpar processor, you get any Pixel or you get the A series phones. Yeah, they're
hmm
cheaper, but when I'm trying to get some interest in the flagships, that's kind of the comparison I make.
yeah. The thing what Tensor has going for it is the fact that it doesn't have bloatware freaking UIs. Um,
Oh yeah,
well, the A series has to deal with the fact that it's
right.
running a phone that has one UI on it,
With
and its
that processor.
bloatedness.
Yeah, right.
Right. The Tensor is running,
But
a lightened and pure version of Android.
we both would say that when it comes to the Qualcomm processor, that's the way to go, regardless of the bloatware or not.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with
Um,
that.
well, we have two other things we wanted to talk about. I guess we should get off our dead horse here.
I wasn't expecting this to be 30, almost 35 minutes going on
Yeah,
phones, and of course it had to end with Pixel Rant.
yeah, of course.
Uh, but we can segue back to way back 25 minutes ago when we were talking about the Red Dragon and
Yes.
or Red Magic, not Red Dragon, Red Magic phone, and how his active cooling. That's a nice segue into talking about heat, which is the whole UCLA coming out with thermal transistors. And I'm a dummy and I don't know exactly how it works, but I know the implication of it.
Yeah,
um,
that was my thoughts too. Is I have no clue what I'm looking at, but it sounds amazing. So
so like a electric transistor, it's it's basically it can take heat and redirect it, and so the if I can bring up the
yeah,
what I
go ahead.
was reading on it. This is from Scientific America. Um, this is talking about um, electronics and how much heat electronics produces. So the Red Magic phone has active cooling because while you're gaming, that's putting a lot of that's asking the processor to do a lot. The more power you're putting through the processor, the more heat it's going to generate. The more heat it generates, the more cooling it needs to keep itself cool so it doesn't melt your hands off while you're playing Minecraft on your phone. But this is what Scientific America was talking about, and this is talking about data centers. More than half of total electricity burned at U.S. data centers isn't used for computing, but for cooling. So this is massive data centers with tons of servers in it, and the energy being used is going towards cooling
That's
those
crazy.
servers. It's not the actual servers doing server things.
That's a
That's
crazy
nuts.
statement. Yeah,
That's quite the statement right there. And so as we see electric pricing go up, everyone's electric bill is starting to go up, and you and I are fortunate to live in the northwest of the United States. We have hydroelectric power, and compared to other places, especially abroad, I know that there's a lot of places in Europe where their power bills are pretty expensive. Our power bills are not. But I know in the gaming community, for a lot of people outside of the United States, um, they they want to build their gaming computers, but they have to take into effect how much power those computers draw because the difference could be pretty substantial to their monthly electric bill. Um, but these thermal transistors is basically a solid state device that goes into a machine that can, and apparently it's compatible with just about everything. But it can take your device and it can redirect that heat, and so everything can stay cooler. But not only that, but potentially turn the heat that's being generated into energy,
yeah,
which is another big thing. So that's not just wasted energy that's going out like in data centers right now, where there's so much power being used to cool these machines, and all that heat's just it's going nowhere, right? It's all wasted energy at that point. Um, this could this could be massive for everything from personal computing to cell phones to gaming computers to servers and data centers, um, this, to electric cars
yeah.
as well.
When I'm hearing
Um,
you say this, I'm thinking, here we were, we've talked about in this podcast, we've talked about, AR and AI and all these things that we think might be the game-changing next technology. This seems like it could be huge, like
mhm.
like fusion level huge, you know? So
Yeah. So I wouldn't anticipate at the S25 to come out with
no, probably not.
thermal transistors. This
I
is
think
a
I
brand
heard
new
like
technology.
10 to 20 years to
Hmm.
do anything at all is what I did you read something like that?
that's kind of what I said. This is it's like we're probably not going to see it in anything, consumer related for
Yeah.
probably 10 years. Um, but this is really really cool and interesting technology. Uh, you know, whoever is listening or not listening because they're sleeping right now, uh,
I don't know.
I
We
can't
might
blame
have
you.
if we're more genuine on this one, remember? So
Yeah,
either
right.
either that means the couple people that were listening are no longer listening,
Yeah.
or maybe we'll get some more here. So,
Or well, here's the thing. If we started the show out talking about thermal transistors and the fact that we don't know how that technology worked, but it's cool, we probably would have lost both listeners just right off the bat.
I'm hopeful, John. Everyone's going to be interested in this new tech.
Well, it's one of those things where to probably your average person, it sounds really, really boring. But I think
It's niche,
the
yeah, for
potential
sure.
for this, the potential to take a processor that's consuming a ton of power, but it's generating heat, and be able to reuse that heat back in as recycled energy at that point. In the same kind of thing that in like Teslas, they use the regenerative braking. So when you're braking, it recharges the battery. Um, that's really cool.
Yeah,
That's
that
really
is
good.
cool.
That's fascinating technology, and I'm excited to see where this leads in 10 to 20 years.
Yeah, me too. Last thing that get another one we know even less about, and I'm actually really embarrassed personally. We've talked about AR a lot, or at least a little bit on this podcast, and I've made it clear at least that I'm interested in AR, and I think it's going to be one of the next big things, or the next big thing. There's this there's this new product, and it might not be new. I just started looking at it. It's called X-Rail, and I sent it to you. Um, Neither of us have looked at it a lot, but it looks like exactly what we were discussing a couple podcasts ago about the combination of Ray-Bans and MetaQuest and Apple's Apple Vision, where we have an AR in what looks like sunglasses and not a big giant VR headset. Um, and it from what I when I my limited research, it looked like you could do a lot of the same things. You could what is that term where they called it basing or something, where you can set it up where you have a screen that when you move your head, it stays there. So you're watching like a virtual screen, or you can have
Hmm.
it the smooth follow where it follows where you're going, or you can picture in picture, put it to the side. Um, it had a lot of really cool features like this. It looks like it has some potential. The price was ranged between $400 to $700, depending on which model. And I don't know how long this
That's
technology has been out there for this
that's
product.
cheaper than Apple Vision.
Yeah, it's closer to the price of the Ray-Bans. So
Yeah. Huh.
yeah,
That's
really cool.
yeah. Um, yeah. AR really has there's a lot of potential there too. And from someone who wears glasses on the daily, it'd be cool to be able to read my text messages while I'm cutting the tomato.
Right?
Um, that is cool. Or to look at like a TV screen and being able to gesture with my hand to raise or lower the volume or change the channel.
Yeah, that would be cool.
um, yeah, that's pretty cool.
So we'll have to look more
So
into this and to see if
mhm.
this is cracked up to what we hope it to be. And if you guys want us to do more of this kind of thing, all right, we'll look into the X-Rail some more. Let us know. Um,
It sounds better than the Meta Ray-Ban thing, which was essentially glasses and cameras and glasses, basically, and speakers. I guess that was.
Right.
I think that's what we came to the conclusion with that one was as it wasn't really augmented reality. It was just
Right.
yeah.
Pair of
But
streaming glasses.
right, yeah. Versus the Apple Vision, it actually produces images in front of you.
Right.
Um, but Apple Vision, no one's gonna wear Apple Vision just out and about while
Around.
they're walking their
Right.
dog down the road, looking like from Ready Player One.
Right. But it sounds like you can do that with these, so
Right, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, if you can look like a normal person wearing glasses, but you're actually getting that augmented reality, that's
yes. And it had three different levels of immersion. Now that we're talking, remembered. So you can shade it to where you're more immersed, and so it's fully shaded, or you can dim that down to where you can see more around you, your environment.
that
So
is cool.
yeah,
Cool. Well, we're 45 minutes in. Are you ready to wrap this up?
yeah. Everyone can wake up, and I think we might have had a couple people, new followers probably, but they've certainly fell asleep during that transistor.
Look, if you need us to
Yeah,
fall asleep,
yeah. Come on,
um,
subscribe. You can all
yeah,
fall asleep on
subscribe,
it. We're getting more.
follow us on YouTube or Spotify or wherever you get
Take a
your
good nap.
podcasts. Yeah,
Yeah,
don't wake up.
we
Just
care
just
about your
let
mental
our next.
health. We so sleep is good.
Yeah, sleep is good. Just let our voices just soothe you on the next episode. Just let our episodes just keep going on and on. That's cool. It's cool with us.
And if
All
you want us
right.
to add
Well,
like a wake up alarm when we're done, we can do that too. Just let us know. Maybe we'll do
oh
that too.
yeah, that would be something. We'll just end our shows with foghorns to wake everybody up as an alarm clock, basically.
We're getting
Perfect.
somewhere. Yeah.
Now we're getting somewhere. That's our $1 million idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, happy New Year, everybody,
Yes.
and let's hope for a great 2024.
Hmm